Welcome to my case study presentation. My name is Mashur Asad and my ID is 115. Today I'm going to present a trademark license agreement dispute between two companies. The two companies were the Mrs. Fields, a well-known cookie company. Their business model revolved around selling cookies to retail stores. Another company being the Interbake Foods LLC. They are an industrial expert in cookie production and cookie quality determination. Back in 2012, Mr. Fields wanted to change their business strategy. They wanted to sell their cookies under a license. So that's when these two companies struck a deal where the cookie company will sell their cookies under Interbake's license. For the remainder of the presentation, I'll be referring Mrs. Fields as the cookie company for clarity. So that was the main agreement, of course, the contract. These are some other significant points of the contract. So the Interbake had to pay 2 million royalty annually to the cookie company. The contract can be terminated if any negative effect occurred, which means MAE. That's what MAE stands for, material adverse effect. Mrs. Fields, if Mrs. Fields, the cookie company, made their company commercially unviable for them for Interbake to run, then the contract can be terminated. Another termination clause was that if the cookie company's annual sale fell below the 20 million mark threshold, then the contract can be terminated. So that's what happened. In 2015, the sale went below the $20 million threshold. So that's when Interbake attempted to terminate the contract. But in response, the cookie company sued Interbake, seeking a temporary restraining order so that they can prevent the contract from being terminated. So these two companies were in a deadlock. So that's when the legal battle started. That lasted almost 14 months. As for the primary legal issues, there were two main legal issues: whether Interbake had the right to actually terminate the contract. The second one being whether the cookie company sabotaged Interbake so that they became commercially unviable. As for the cyber law implications, since this case was mainly a contractual dispute, there were no significant implications of any like intellectual property or data security or etc. The key stakeholders being, of course, the two companies, Mrs. Fields and Interbake, and the consumers, the potential buyers, and the courts and the attorneys as well. After the four months legal battle, the trial concluded. The court ruled in favor of the cookie company. It stated that Interbake did not have the right to terminate the contract. So making the attempt to terminate it was invalid. So it was actually invalid. Only Mrs. Fields, the cookie company, had the power to terminate the contract under the circumstances. Circumstance being their annual sales went below the 20 million mark, and the court also ruled that the cookie company did not sabotage or any did not purposefully did any adverse effect, so that it puts any negative effect on the business of Interbake. So the jury heavily sided with the cookie company, Mrs. Fields, of course. Now, the case had some critical points. As one of the legal issues, Interbake claimed that the cookie company, Mrs. Fields, tried to sabotage the company, making Interbake commercially unviable, which is kind of contradicting their actions. Because back in 2014 and 15, Interbake tried to buy out Mrs. Fields, but Mrs. Fields rejected their offer. So back then, they knew about the quality, about the cookies and the brand management. So that's why they wanted to buy them. But next year, when the sales drop, they try to terminate the contract. So that kind of contradicts their actions. The court mainly used the Delaware contract law, which is about proper contract interpretation, to rule the case. So, since that was the main factor in this case, so that would indicate that Interbake did not properly interpret the contract clauses. So they probably misinterpreted the clauses. Either that, or there was some vague terms used, so that left room for ambiguity in the agreement. So that's why Interbake finally lost the case to the cookie company. As for the takeaways of the case, the first thing that we can conclude is how important we can understand the importance of well defined clauses, especially termination clauses, because that can make or break your business. We should always follow good business practices. We should leave no room for ambiguities. If there's any room for ambiguity, then either party can exploit that hole. So we should always take a professional approach in this corporate world. And that should be it for this case study. And thank you very much.